And we're live. Welcome back to another Tea Time with Tia. Paulie's joining me again today, and another one of our cats, Sunny. Say hi, Sunny.
Hi, Sunny.
Lady.
Hi, guys.
Oh, lady's trying to get back in here and everything. So, hi, baby. Aww.
Say hi, Ladybug.
Oh God.
Coffee.
As mentioned yesterday, Paulie and I have 4 cats and a dog. So, hi, baby.
She just wants to be in the video.
She just wants to be in the video. So, I was going to say that it makes sense that we animal lovers yesterday watched Netflix's Tiger King, which I don't know if you can see in the back. That kind of looks a little superimposed.
It's too bright.
It's too bright. Okay. We tried to be neat and have it in the background and everything, but it's okay either way.
There we go. Sorry,
technical
guys.
difficulties. Okay.
Paul got stuck under the computer.
Yeah. So, but all right. So Netflix's Tiger King depicts the kind of life of this really eccentric character, Joe Exotic, and other members of the wildlife big cats community.
It was crazy.
It was crazy.
That was a nuts story.
I had never heard of Joe Exotic, but I obviously knew that there were people out there who took it upon themselves to buy these insanely, like, tigers and lions and all that, which none of those people, I don't think, should have those type of animals
they
at
don't
all.
belong in the United States, let alone on a farm in Oklahoma. I think he had like 30 or 40 tigers alone.
Oh, so many. So for those who don't know, Joe Exotic was this zookeeper of sorts. I mean, it wasn't really a zoo. It's not like the Bronx Zoo or any other type of official zoo that you can think of. It was a guy's backyard, essentially, that in cages he kept these huge tigers and lions.
He had a lot of land, but he wasn't taking care of them properly.
No, not at all, because he wasn't, like, first he was doing shows, okay? It was very, I don't want to say this.
It was like a circus.
It was like a circus, but very like backyard.
It's like a redneck circus.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't know if I should say that or anything.
I don't know if that was good either. Sorry.
Sorry, but a very backyard zoo where he obviously made his money, and he showcased all these tigers and lions and stuff. Just doing tours with people coming in, and he took pictures with these young cubs and everything. But okay, so there's that, right? First of all, the guy, Joe Exotic, was, as I said, really eccentric. He, was all tatted up and really just wild and all that. And he
had 3 husbands.
He had 3 husbands, which was nuts. Just the whole thing. And they kind of went through the documentary how it sounded like a cult. Wouldn't you say that all of those people, it sounded like a cult?
Bordering a cult. I mean, his husbands weren't allowed to leave the farm or park, rather, and I forget what the other stipulation was. He had all these crazy rules.
None of them could leave. Like one of his husbands, I guess if he had one. Sorry about that in the background. We can't control that. Obviously, it's Yonkers. But if his husband wanted to go visit his brother in Texas, either he wasn't allowed to go.
Okay, Apollo in the background. There's our tiger.
These are the type of cats you should own, not those type of cats. But if his husband wanted to go to Texas, he had to either not go or he had to be back within a day, which is insane, like super controlling. But they were all like that because you not only had Joe Exotic, but you had other people who had similar situations. And one guy, they were saying he was nuts. To me, he was nuts. Like maybe even more so than Joe. The guy who had all the women who he said that they had to have sex with him if they wanted to stay, and he dressed them and named them.
I mean, Jeffrey.
No, that wasn't Jeff. Jeff was the guy who then ended up.
Park.
Yeah, but the other guy who was
the one with 3 teeth.
No, that was Joe's husband. We're getting confused, but there was another guy who he had all these women, and it was a stipulation that if you were on the park, you had to have sex with him, and nuts. He dressed you, and he gave you your own name and everything. It was very cultish. Yeah. And then there was a third guy who was doing the same type of shit, and he literally said on camera, he was like, I don't want to know how you wrangle your cats. I want to know how you keep your bitches in place, and I'm like,
yeah, that's terrible. That's so degrading and just awful. I don't understand why nobody could leave the park. That makes no sense.
It makes no sense. Well, I mean, and then you had all these people that, you know, they subscribed to this whole lifestyle. Like, there were workers at Joe's Park who literally lost their limbs, and they were back to work within days.
They said that they were all outcasts, basically, of society. Yeah. So that was basically their only option. So they just went along with it for a while.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. But the documentary really explored this kind of wild life that all of these guys were involved in. And at the beginning of the documentary, because it was a series, I forget how many episodes now. I
think it was 6 or 7.
Yeah, I feel like we were watching it for a while, but
yeah, definitely.
You had this guy, Joe Exotic, and right now he's currently in jail because he tried to do a murder plot against this woman, Carol. I remember her name.
Carol, yeah. She basically was, she was like PETA. She was like a one-woman army, and she was trying to get the animals taken from him, but he was so emotionally attached to them that it got to the point where he actually tried to put a hit out on her because she wouldn't stop trying to take his animals.
Well, because Carol, you find out she also owns cats, but she had more of a, like, she wasn't, say, doing what Joe was doing and kind of having them in, like, small cages or, you know, breeding them to do these shows like with the other guy, right? They were saying that he bred his tigers, but once they got to a certain age where he couldn't have them play with people anymore, he killed them.
It's awful.
So Carol had more of like a wildlife reservation type of place.
She had more land. She had like the proper habitat set up for them.
Right.
They don't belong in a dust field with cages.
Exactly, and that's what Joe and all these other people were doing. But Carol instead had it more like a zoo, you know, where you were on the outside watching, not interacting directly. And she really disliked Joe and what he was doing, and he just took it to another level. He had YouTube videos, not unlike ours.
He only had 80 viewers. He did it for years and years.
But that was before that producer came in and helped him and really catapulted his career.
That's true.
But he really disliked Carol. He would go constantly on his YouTube channel and talk shit about Carol, put out, you know, death threats and everything. So it was really insane that Joe had such a vendetta against Carol. But before you think that Carol is like 100% innocent,
there's one crazy too.
She was nuts. With her. And there was one episode that solely focused on the theory that she might have killed her like third husband and fed him.
He was rich, and then all of a sudden he disappeared.
And he like owned small planes, right? And the whole thing was that he went on those planes constantly, and his whole thing was that he went missing. And he tried to fly from Oklahoma to Costa Rica, and lawyers were saying, you can't go direct with a small plane from Oklahoma to Costa Rica. You'd have to refuel like 4 times, and he would have known that.
Not only that, she in her diary was exposed to the public, and she was writing things about how he was cheating on her constantly and how she couldn't stand being in the relationship, and she felt like she had no way out, so she didn't know what to do. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he goes missing. You know, that's
and which is crazy because so her diary got exposed to the public because of Joe.
Yeah, he did it purposely.
Because he did it purposely, so that was insane. So she wasn't necessarily innocent either, but I want to say that she cared more about the animals than the others did.
But she was a little crazy.
She was definitely. Every single article of clothing of her, she said,
was tiger
print or cat print of some sort.
Everything she owned.
Everything.
Her shoes, her dress, her pants, everything was cat print.
It was a little insane. But yeah, so the whole it just kept getting wilder and wilder every single episode. Like I found. These are 2 things I said during the show. I went, oh God, and what the fuck?
Yeah, basically. That's all you could think
That's the whole
all
time.
I could think
of.
What the hell?
Like, what the hell is going on right now? Because Joe, who's already this eccentric human being who is all, you know, tatted up, which again, nothing wrong with tattoos. We have tattoos. But, you know, he's having all these like crazy tigers and lions and everything. And on top of that, he has 2 husbands who I'm going to say that he definitely groomed those guys, because it came out later on in the documentary that those guys even said that they weren't even gay. And I think that
went along with it.
they just went along with it. And I think that that's maybe how manipulative Joe was, because these were misfits and outcasts of society that, you know, and Joe would like get them nice things and everything.
He was feeding them drugs too.
He was feeding
constantly,
them drugs
so that they would stay and whatnot.
All of those guys, right? Joe and the people involved, you know, whether it was towards men or it was towards women, they were manipulative and they were controlling, because for the other guy, the women felt the same way. You know, we can't leave. We're not allowed to do this. I can't visit my brother, yada, yada. So it's crazy that in this like big cat community that the men were so controlling, you know?
I just don't like that personally. Like, I believe in equal rights for men and women, so that kind of annoyed me a little bit. That they
it really annoys me, because, you know, these people didn't have a choice or anything, and we see, I guess, spoiler alert, but we see later on in the show that one of his husbands, who was just so sick and tired of being manipulated and having him, you know, under a thumb,
shot himself.
He committed suicide because of that. And to me, it's like, okay, if that doesn't show you the type of person that Joe is, because while he's trying to put on this really great show and act all fun-loving and everything, he's, you know, making death threats towards Carol. He's being manipulative,
like way more than one death threat.
Kept talking about it over and over and over again, which was insane. And
he was doing it live too.
You know, he really thought he was like in the right.
And it wasn't just death threats. It's like he was getting like a dummy and calling it Carol
and then shooting it
and blowing it up and stuff like that.
Okay, but this is the best, right? So this is another thing with Joe and how like ridiculous he is. He loved his music videos. He made the cheesiest music videos, and he literally made a music video about Carol potentially having killed her husband and got like a Carol lookalike. But that leads back to his husband, Travis, killing himself, is that he, of course, had to take that moment to be a ham and sing. Remember, he sung during the freaking funeral.
I can't say he had a bad voice, but it was just so corny. Like, it was awful.
It was really bad. It was really, really bad. So and then at some point he ran for president. Remember that?
He ran for president
as an independent.
Governor. He got 19% votes though, which was actually surprising. I expected him to get nothing.
Well, to be fair, Donald Trump won. So
I guess.
But his video was like, what did he say? Did he say like I'm a redneck? He's like, I'm a redneck.
I can't remember.
I'm gay. I own, 20 cats
a tiger
or something.
Owning, gun-toting, gay,
redneck
with 2 husbands and a park.
It was
so
something.
weird.
And that was his like pitch, and it was like, what is going on right now? So I have to say that every time we were watching Tiger King, I was just like blown away with what the hell was going on.
It was an interesting, almost kind of like a mystery story too, because there was motives for everybody to have wanted to kill the other. So
it seemed like there was a lot of backstabbing, because not only were there death threats, but there were business moments as well. Like, okay, so you mentioned the guy Jeff, right? And there is a guy Jeff at some point who, he was brought in to improve the park, but he really, I can't say that he didn't try. He saw that Joe was running a shit show and wanted to help, but it was selfish motives as well, because he was essentially just pushing Joe out of the business.
Well, he actually owned the place, but Joe was, I guess, co-owner or manager.
Well, he bought Joe owned it originally, but Joe was hemorrhaging money. He was spending so much. And so Jeff came in and bought the place from him. And so Joe was like still the figurehead and he was still part of it, but Jeff like actually owned it. There was a lot of backstabbing and stuff, but at the end of the documentary, the girl who lost her arm?
Oh, her name was, man, I can't remember. It was like Sass or something like that.
Yeah. Oh. Sass or Chas?
It had an F in it. I can't even pronounce. She was definitely an Asian woman. She stuck her hand in a tiger cage, and the thing literally mauled her arm off. It was just dangling.
But
by
then she
skin.
went to freaking work like 5 days later. But she made a really good point at the end of the show. She said that all of these people, because everyone's obviously reflecting now, like what's going on with Joe being in prison and stuff, and all of them having lost their jobs essentially. And she said that all of these people act as if they're, animal rights people. They're all saying that it's for the animals' rights, but no animal benefited from this. Like,
he was moving them around. I guess, I don't know how else you'd do it, but they were moving them around in bulldozers and stuff like that. Well,
and then when they tore up Joe's property after they arrested him, they found the skeletons of like
5 skeletons of tigers that were shot in the head. And I don't know if you caught this, but he had removed their teeth, cut their feet off. I guess he was keeping them as, I don't know, souvenirs or something.
So Joe, that happened. And the other guy I was mentioning, who I forget his name now, but he was a scumbag, so I didn't really pay attention to that. But he was the one who they said that he, had tiger babies and he kept them up to a certain age so that they could play with people. But then obviously you can't, control a 500-pound tiger. So eventually when they got to a certain age, he would shoot them.
That's crazy. There's tons of places that they could have went to, even if they were sick. Like he said, that's the reason he said he shot them.
Yeah.
They could have been sent somewhere.
Carol at one point said, where she said, whatchamacallit it, that it'll happen, and I was telling you this, right? People will get these teacup pigs because people sell them and say, oh yeah, these pigs, they'll only stay this size for the rest of their life. It's like, no, not at all. They're not selling you teacup pigs, they're selling you babies. So then eventually they're going to get up to like 300 pounds. And people are like, what am I going to do with a huge pig? So that was the same with like, people would buy
fish stores do that too. They'll sell you these fish and they don't tell you how big they're gonna get. They're about this big when you buy them, and then they grow bigger than your arm sometimes.
Right. So that would happen with like tigers. People would buy it because it's like, oh look how cute, tigers, and then they would get up to like 500 pounds, and it's like, get this death trap out of here.
Yeah, no way I would have a tiger like that.
No,
I wouldn't step in a cage with them either.
I mean, I did say that it'd be kind of cute to see a little baby, but
baby anything is cute.
Exactly. But yeah, so I just really liked what that girl said at the end, where she said that it just seemed like no actual animal benefited. No. I mean, they were killing, their tigers, their lions, their bears.
Unfortunately, they say, I don't know if you heard it, but they say that there's more big cats in captivity than there are in the wild.
I heard that. That's really sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad. It's these are wild animals, and they're not supposed, like, it's just like
centerpieces. They're animals.
It's the same thing. Like, I have this kind of obsession. I don't know if you know about this, but I have this obsession with looking at pictures of bats.
Oh yeah,
because they're really cute.
They
look like our dog Lady with wings, right?
Yeah, they really do, actually.
But there are people out there who would want them as pets, and you have animal conservationists who are saying, yeah, they're cute, but they're not pets. They're supposed to be in the wild.
I've seen a couple pet bats on YouTube. I just don't know what the proper conditions for them would be, so I can't.
The only pages that I see with bats is that they're like, they're keeping them to then rehabilitate them to go into the wild. So you'll see a lot of people where they'll have bats, but it's not that they're keeping them permanently. They're making sure that they have the strength to then be released into the wild.
They feed them and nurture them.
They're not there as permanent pets. Kind of like a foster, like for cats and everything.
Where did you even get a bat though? Like, I don't understand. Like,
I have no idea. But my whole point is I'm using like the bats. It's like, yeah, like bats are cute. Same thing, like you may see a tiger cub and it's cute, but no way should you have it like in your house, in even a backyard and everything. It's just, I don't know how he did get away with it so long, Joe Exotic. But
it's not illegal to have them if you get them properly. But
I guess, but he even said that, like, because there were concerns. Because remember, there was that one person who, like, 20 of his tigers went out and the police all shot them.
Oh, well, this gentleman, he purposely released them into the town
it was a purpose thing?
Yeah, he did it purposely. I guess he lost his mind, but the police ended up having to kill them all. How can you do that?
So after that, though, was when I guess town or something was trying to think, like, should we even allow this anymore for people to have these privately owned, houses with, pets? Because it's not, as I said, it's not like the Bronx Zoo. It wasn't like a legitimate zoo. Like, to me, I think a legitimate zoo is like the Bronx Zoo. You go
nobody
there
was qualified.
No one was qualified.
They
just
doing
got
veterinarian work without being a vet.
Yeah, they were just getting I hate to say it, but like ex-cons,
They were ex-cons.
They're ex-cons.
Or drug smugglers.
Yeah.
Or something terrible.
Yeah, they're getting all those people who, obviously would have a hard time finding work and just putting them out into there. And it's like, what qualification do any of them have? It's like, I get that. Well, didn't one of them say, I forget if it was Joe Exotic or someone, but they're like, oh, those are the good people to get because, they'll always work hard to not lose their job, something like that.
I can't remember, but for the animals' well-being, it would be better to just pay the money and get a vet.
Get a vet. Yeah, so it's Tiger King is really like a wild story. It's interesting. It's not what I thought originally. Like, we watched the trailer and then we watched the show, and it's like, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. But I did find myself, getting pissed.
I was really pissed the whole time.
I was pissed because not only were like so much animal abuse, and then me, like that whole guy with all those women, and then Joe, with those guys, like, they interviewed like his husband, the one with like the missing teeth, and he was like reflecting back on it, and it's like he even got the tattoo covered up because it's like he didn't even want to remember that time, and it's like, Joe even said, "Where do you go?" He goes, "Oh, I fell in love with straight boys." It's like, you didn't fall in love with straight boys. You manipulated guys, to be with you.
Love at all.
That's not love at all. Like, love between men, women, men and men, women and women should always be consensual. And that was not consensual at all. And neither was what the other guy was doing with all those women.
You can love someone and they don't love you back, but I mean, then you can't force them to love you.
And that's what Joe was doing. So I got pissed on all different levels. I got pissed on an animal rights level, a women's rights level, a LGBT rights level.
I was honestly more annoyed, really, just at how crazy they were.
They were all crazy because they were all thinking they were so right. And like, remember, Joe would be like, "I'd like to see them come and try and take my animals from me. It's gonna be another Waco."
Yeah.
He literally said that to a journalist, like, if they try and come here, it's gonna be another Waco. I'm like, what do you think you're gonna do?
Even
saying
the journalist was like, that's a really strong statement.
That's a strong statement that you're gonna make, and obviously that put him on the police radar. And what do you think was gonna happen?
And that wasn't the first time. He always made these crazy, outlandish threats, and he had weapons all over the place.
Yeah, he filmed videos of himself firing guns and everything. It was really insane.
He filmed everything.
He filmed everything. They said, like, he filmed everything, but then he would like ruin evidence when he knew that it would work against him.
Yeah, he
remember?
Made a big pile and set it all on fire.
Fire, and it's like insane. So I don't know, like, Tiger King was just, you gotta
watch it.
You gotta watch it. It's gonna be wild. You're gonna get pissed a little, but it is just insane to think that this is a real story and that these people are real. And Joe Exotic is still in jail right now.
79 years.
Yeah, facing a 79-year sentence. And they're all, like, to me, the only people who came out like clean out of it was like, again, I felt bad for his husband. I forget his name, but I hope he's okay wherever he is. And the girl who lost her arm. And I felt bad for that one dude with like the long blonde hair. He turned into like a real alcoholic afterwards.
He was a mess.
He was a mess because that was the only thing that gave him purpose. And
he was in his bedroom talking to a
stuffed tiger.
Like,
yeah, I think like a lot of people or the one guy also who lost his leg said that he like lost his wife, because like, if I were a woman, why would you want to deal with that,
no legs?
Not that he had
Oh, I
no
was
legs.
gonna
That
say.
no. That he was like constantly with Joe Exotic and everything, because he was really like, even till the end, he was very much to Joe's defense. And it's like, if he's spending like 24 hours at this zoo and can't leave, and he's like pretty much subscribing to this cult mentality, it's like, I can imagine wanting to leave the guy too.
Yeah, you can't be in a relationship like that. It's just ridiculous. There's no way.
No, not that he had no legs.
I'm sorry. I was like, wow, T, thanks. Good thing to know.
No, oh my God. Like that.
If I ever lose my legs,
No.
better start finding another girlfriend.
No, not at all. Not at all. I was just saying that, like, because he was so dedicated to the park, you know. But it is insane. You should definitely. So, Paulie, before we kind of like wrap everything up here, out of 10, what would you rate this documentary?
I mean, just for the fact that I was so surprised that because watching the intro, or the what do you call it, the previews for it doesn't do it justice.
No,
when you watch it, there's just so much going on.
Yeah,
that it's like a love story, a horror story, a mystery story. It's just everything combined. So I would say it was probably a 10, honestly, just for the fact that I was just so taken back by it. Like, I didn't like the people very much, but the story was just nuts, honestly. That would have been a good book.
To me, I feel like Netflix is kind of killing it with these documentary series. I also suggest watching the Aaron Hernandez documentary series.
I saw that. Did I?
With the football player who like apparently killed a few people and then killed himself in prison.
I know what you mean. I just can't remember watching.
You should watch it if you never saw it. But I would suggest that. Also, the trials of Gabriel Fernandez, with the little boy.
I don't remember that.
With his abusive parents who killed him.
There's been so many stories.
Okay.
That we've watched lately. I don't know.
All right, so I'm just saying those are good documentaries. So compared to those, which I thought that the Aaron Hernandez one was okay. The Gabriel Fernandez one like literally broke me. So compared to like those, I would say Tiger King is definitely a little bit more lighthearted. I didn't cry at all, which is good. I would give it like an 8 out of 10 just because I really wanted to see the trial. I really wanted to see like Joe on the stand.
That was one thing I didn't like was how they ended it. It was kind of I don't want to say abrupt, but I feel like there was more to see.
There was more to see. So like I'm just interested in seeing if we ever get like an update. But besides that, I liked it. Definitely not what I thought it was. And while we're all stuck inside, we're gonna need something to watch. And it was, I say check it out. It's on Netflix. It's definitely great. But this is another Tea Time with Tia. As I say, always, you can check us out at geek5snation.com. We're on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We have everything and anything that you could want, all different types of podcasts.
And subscribe
to this and like it. No, yes, do it now. Not even if you... so all of that, and make sure you check me out. I'm on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff, and keep on watching, for more dogs and cats and more little tidbits and review shows. If there's anything you'd like me to talk about, if you want to see Paulie again on this.
I'm on social media, but honestly, I never got sucked into it like everyone, so it's pointless even reaching out to me.
Oh my God, lady! Hi, bye. Say hi.
Lady just wanted to say bye to everyone. I guess.
Say bye.
With her big ears.
She's like, "Mommy, give me stick."
Her little treats.
Her little treats. Oh my God. All right, let's end this video. Everyone, see ya.
Bye.
Oh my God, her paw is stuck in my hair.
Uh-oh. All right.
Oh my